So I've been playing around with the Wasp as of late, fielding it in a company of mechs, adding it in with some Total Warfare vehicles. And I understand with every mech, I mean, this is true in every war game, it's true in Battletech, there's what I define as the unlock period. You understand a unit or a mech on paper, you're reading the technical manual, you're checking it out, but there is a definitive transition from paper to tabletop, because now you're interacting with terrain, you're interacting with other mechs, yours and your opponents, and over that you have a mission layered over that. So I realized the first, 5, 6 or so games, you're in experimental mode. You need to kind of get over that curve and see how it integrates. So you play a mech once, any mech, it gets destroyed on the table. You can't really say it's ineffective or it doesn't work or you're not playing it right. You're learning. So I've been incorporating the Wasp and exploring it. We're looking at the stock model with the medium laser, which is pretty good for a light mech. That's kind of the standard weapon that's on there. And a short-range missile 2-pack, which I have to wonder, Wasp versus Stinger, machine guns versus missiles on there, and kind of the role between two of them, both of them on there. So playing the Wasp. First of all, I'm not used to light mechs. I'm not. I mean, armor is essentially nothing. So if you get hit by anything, it's basically going to blow a limb off. So 50-50, actually 25% chance of each limb. You lose a leg, you're now down on the ground, and essentially the mech is out of the game. So at best, I'm hoping to get hit in my left arm, my right arm, or possibly side or left torso on there. I don't want to take any hits. That's true for most light mechs on there. So immediately, this is not a skirmisher type mech. This is not the type of mech that even remotely wants to engage with a medium or heavy mech. Counter to that, the Thorn is a light mech. It's got some pretty decent armor for a light mech. It could take a hit. Not that I want to take a hit again, but it could against a medium or heavy mech. It has a long-range missile 5-pack. Among its other roles, I use the Thorn to harass opposing mechs or harass vehicles, run and gun, and all that. Trying that with the Wasp, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to work out from that perspective. Okay, so we explored a little bit more. Skirmishing against light mechs. There's this idea in Battletech, of course, you want to stay together. You want all your mechs and vehicles close together. So this way they overlap hexes in terms of field of fire and weapons that you can deliver. But at some point, you close with your opponent. And now we're at medium to short range. I mean, long range, you're just kind of shooting, but we're at medium to short range, and we've kind of locked horns, right? The bulls have locked horns on here. If I pull back, I can only backpedal. I can only walk, while you could say run or walk to get on top of me on there. So we're locked. It's very hard to disengage in Battletech once you're engaged. I don't want to give rear armor. I might not want to give side on there. There's some challenges. At this point, often what you see when this happens, bodyguard mechs that are medium mechs, usually something like a hunchback, will now try to break out, literally push through and get rear armor. Or what you'll see is something like a Jenner or other light mechs that have been previously running around the sides of the table all game, up the flank. Now they're attacking from behind. And this now creates a challenge. We'll take the hunchback out of it for a second. This creates a challenge utilizing light mechs to now harass for rear armor on there. As a medium mech or a heavier assault mech, if this happens to you, unless you have a battle master with some lasers to fish them out, push them out, do you turn? Do you engage? It's another distraction. It's another front. It's something for that mech warrior, two things to deal with. That's another great use of light mechs. So in playing the Wasp this way, it really didn't have enough of a bite on there. Because ideally, yes, of course, you want to hit center torso, left torso, right torso on there. You don't really want to hit the legs or the arms because they'll just absorb it, having no proper front or back to it. I want to have something that is going to be a threat and punch through. There's a difference. This is an extreme example, but it's there. Something like a Jenner working behind you. It's got the speed, it's got the mobility, it's got everything. That's a major problem. If a Jenner wants to push heat, it has multiple medium lasers, and it has the short-range missile pack. 1 or 2 turns back there, it is going to chew through your rear armor just on the law of averages hitting there. The Stinger doesn't have that. And while the medium laser is good, if I hit with the short-range missile 2-pack, it's just a little back scratcher. So it's not a major threat for that. But where I have been utilizing it, so I won't say that's 2 strikes against the Wasp, because certainly it is someone's favorite mech out there. Where it does work is as a harassment mech for light mechs. Engaging a light mech, there's light mech versus light mech. I won't say is the most boring thing in Battletech, but it's perhaps the most challenging thing in Battletech, because here, yes, you have machines that have minimal armor, minimal weapons for the most part, unless it's something very specialized or very more tonnage on the high-end scale like the Jenner and stuff. But a lot of these machines, they have a primary weapon of a medium laser or less, and then they have a secondary weapon like small missiles or machine guns. Now, when you add distance and you add the fact that they're moving, 6, 7, 8, 9 plus hexes a turn, there's to hit modifiers. You're regularly hitting. Imagine you and I jumping around and running around, regularly hitting on 11s and 12s. And when you do happen to score a hit, it can take it a little bit. But it is a way to drive off a light mech. So I've been using the Wasp, I guess like a Wasp, to drive off these light mechs that are potentially wanting to come and work their way behind around my primary, mediums, heavies, and assaults. Okay, it does have hands. I will say that, and from someone who routinely plays Locusts, my number one goal is to become the most feared Locust pilot in the inner sphere. All of a sudden, you play a light mech with hands, and you're like, wait, I got hands. I can pick stuff up for the mission. The challenge here for cash and grab type missions is usually the objective is defended. So you've got to have a way in, then you've got to have a way out. You might have some stuff to kind of go in with you and accompany in. I find Warriors, Karnovs, a great way for cash and grab. I like to drop a Karnov with tons and tons of infantry right into the objective. I like to have Warriors come up and harassing, maybe some hovers, and then I have a mech go in there. And the reason why I have the mech go in there, simply because the hands to pick it up, but even if you're playing with a variant rule where vehicles can pick it up or infantry, the mech is not subject to motive hits, because you've got to make it on the way in, you've got to make it on the way out. So essentially I take a giant hornet's nest, drop it on the objective, kick it around a bit, and then go in and grab it. The Wasp has the possibility to do this on there. You've got both hands for that. But in truth, any mech with hands could do it. But that's one way to kind of look at it. Punching, kicking, death from above. You could work your way behind a heavy mech. I mean, that's another great way. A great little kind of headhunter type mech is the Spider. Where it can run around up the table, run side table, run behind. It's got the laser in the torso. You can zap away with that. You could punch, and kick. Against a medium, heavy, or assault mech, you're looking for headshots on there. You're looking to force consciousness checks. And the last game of Battletech I played versus the clans, I was pushing my Stalker up there. It's taking mad damage, taking a lot of damage. Basically ripped through my entire right side. But I'm pushing it. I'm dishing things out. I'm pushing heat. I'm doing pretty good. And we're getting to that point, that mission critical point where it's like, okay, I'm starting to punch through the clan's armor. It's going to be who blinks first. And while I'm heavily damaged on my right side and into internals, and I've lost some weapon systems, the rest of the mech is pretty solid on there. Then I take 2 headshots, 2 in that turn, 2. And it's not like I was eating a lot of firepower. 2 headshots, okay, we're good. I'm still up somehow, and because it was missiles, short-range missiles that hit. Pilot check, consciousness check, fail. I go night-night, and that's it. Just one turn against multiple clans are surrounding you. Go to sleep. That's bad. So same idea with the Wasp, or the Spider, but the Wasp, running up and punching, getting those headshots, forcing consciousness checks. You could do death from above. The challenge with death from above versus a light or a medium mech, in my opinion, yes, you have all these insane kind of things that have to happen ahead of time. So your opponent has to move ahead of time and end in the hex. You have to declare it. You could possibly get shot down on there and see what happens. A lot of what ifs. But if they do align, then you got to hit. And whether you hit or not, you're going to take damage to the legs. A medium mech can take it. A medium mech could take it and be like taking some serious damage to your legs. A light mech might shear the leg off on it, or damage it so bad it's to internals. And I mean, really, the machine is not meant to do that on there. But you could possibly do that as an emergency. So that's the focus on the Wasp. Some ideas that are on there. There's been a couple of follow-ups from the blog post where we were checking this out, and the idea is inferno missiles and other things specifically to deal with infantry, and utilizing the Wasp, the speed of it with the missiles and the lasers to engage vehicles and cause motive hits. Absolutely on that, but that depends if you're playing vehicles versus non-vehicles in your lists and kind of your own personal play style with the group you're playing.